So today we have an affordable watch that's from a Canadian brand, well under $300. It's getting a Miyota 9000 series. It gets good lume. It gets a boxed sapphire crystal, 100 meters of water resistance. It gets a beautiful sunburst dial that sort of has a fume effect as well. Lots of specs for well under $300, and that is very hard to do. This is from Van Banner, and I don't think they're making any money on this watch, which is actually good for you. So let's check it out. So today we have a Canadian brand on the channel. This is called Van Banner, and this is a very affordable automatic Miyota powered, sort of, I guess you would call it a field watch. It's kind of like a dress watch, but it has actually 100 meters of water resistance, so it's a little bit more than a dress watch. Maybe it's a sports watch. Let's take a look. It comes in a cardboard box, outer cardboard sleeve actually. Inner box is, I guess this might be leatherette, I'm not sure, but it's just a little box, very classic looking box. Inside you have a little microfiber cloth that's signed by the brand right there. And then of course you get a watch. There's a little hang tag as well. Very sort of vintage feeling. A little insert here to protect it from scratching during shipping. And here is the watch. So you can see this is a green dial variant, and it gets a sunburst sort of fume green dial with applied indices. This is a very nice dial considering the price. Now, usually I don't lead in with the price, so it's not one of the first things I'm telling you about, but it's a major feature of this watch. $260. Essentially what they have done is on their Instagram, they ran a poll. I think we're starting this price at around $520. They did a poll off of Instagram. Obviously it was a gimmick, and they asked their audience, their subscribers on Instagram, what price do you want this watch at? $520 or $260? Obviously the poll was very heavily in favor of $260, which makes a lot of sense. Now, that being said, you're not getting a watch that I feels like a $260 watch. This is ironically priced the exact same amount that you can get a Moonswatch for. And if I were going to compare it to something like a Moonswatch, this feels like a watch that you would be able to wear for a very long time. This is something that could be in your life for the rest of your life. This is a very well-made watch. I'm actually very surprised at the quality versus the price. Now, what you're getting here is a stainless steel case. You're getting a crown at the 4 o'clock. It's a screwed in crown. You're getting 100 meters of water resistance. You're getting a beautiful dial that has that green fume sunburst pattern. What you have there is the logo just below the 12 o'clock. You have beaver teeth for the 12 o'clock index, and those are filled with lume. So you have applied indices. Those are all filled with lume. At the 6 o'clock or above the 6 o'clock, it says automatic. It's in a stylized script, and it's also sort of curved, really vintage looking. And then below that, it says 10 atmospheres. So it just says 10 atmospheres where it would normally say like made in Japan or made in Switzerland. Obviously, this is a Canadian brand, but their watches are being made in Asia, I believe in China. So they went with something a little bit different here, and I do like it. It does work. I think it looks good. And you just have a minute track. That minute track is printed in white. Very simply done. Hands, fence post hands, filled with lume as well. Red second hand with a counterbalance. Really pops against that green background. The case is basically brushed on the top. You have circular brushing that extends from the bezel edge, really no bezel here, but the top of the case, and then into the lugs themselves, finished very nicely. And then you have polished sides. Same thing for the bracelet. You have sort of a president style bracelet, I guess you could call it, and it has polished size brush tops. A very generic micro brand buckle, but it's not bad, very functional. They did put tons of micro adjust on here, so it is manual micro adjust, not on the fly, but at this price, very forgivable. You'll get 6 positions of micro adjust. It's a very thick milled buckle. Again, this is very typical of your micro brand buckle, but it's one of the nicer ones. They've done a good job with this. Really satisfying clicks, and it's very thick. It's also signed Van Banner right there. Very nice. And then the back of the case, again, I'll do close-ups of all this so you can see what I'm talking about. Also signed Van Banner with their logo. It just says Van Banner Watches, and then it says Miyota 90 39. So this is a Miyota movement, as I mentioned. It is a 9000 series, which of course you guys know I love. It is the 9039, so that's the dateless version of the 9000 series. A very good movement, especially a slim movement, so we're going to see the benefits of that in just a second. So this is about a 38 millimeter watch. With the lug-to-lug, it has male end link, so it's a little bit bigger on the effective lug-to-lug, so it's about 45.6 millimeters and 11 millimeters thick, so an automatic watch with 100 meters of water resistance, 11 millimeters thick, not that bad. The effective lug-to-lug at the ends of the male end links, you're getting 49.4, not bad. And then the crown, 6.1 for a 38 millimeter watch. That is very, very good. You get screwed links even at this price. That is a very good option as well. Lots of little details done very well on this watch. Obviously you can see from the packaging, from the watch itself, from the dial, the stylized script, the way that they've sort of gone about this watch, very heavily inspired by vintage watches. With the crown being at 4 o'clock, it gives it a little bit of a modern twist, even though maybe that's not a modern element, but it does give me a little bit of a modern feel. Me personally, maybe not you, but definitely something I like. Sapphire crystal is boxed. Now, I've said this a lot on my channel, but boxed sapphire crystals, a lot more expensive than a double dome sapphire crystal, than a flat sapphire crystal. So these are, I think, 3 times the price of a double dome sapphire crystal. And they also put big, chunky indices on here, big, chunky hands. And I believe these are loomed pretty brightly, especially considering the price. This is going to be a very good selling point for this watch. I'll do a loom shot at the end, but you can see that there is a lot of loom just from me doing a little quick flash of the UV light. That means they spent a lot of money on this watch. They're not making money on this watch, $260. It's very hard for them to make money if they're offering you 100 meters of water resistance, gaskets and things like that. Engineering is a little bit higher on a watch with 100 meters of water resistance. Box sapphire crystal, and then number 3, loom. So these are things that cost a lot of money. That Miyota movement costs a good amount of money compared to a NH35 or a 8 series Miyota. This costs a lot more. Anyway, very quickly, let me throw it on my wrist. I have a 7.5 inch wrist. Today, I am wearing a very large watch, very different from the watch that I'm about to put on my wrist. This is my IWC Ingenieur, a watch designed by Gerald Genta, sort of removed because they updated the design on this watch later on in its sort of life cycle, and now it's really not designed by Gerald Genta, but the current ones are definitely not, because they went back to the original design with the round case. But here it is on my 7.5 inch wrist. You can see it wears like a 38 millimeter watch, pretty much spot on. That lug to lug of like 49 millimeters really does make a difference on my 7.5 inch wrist, because obviously it fits perfectly. Very nicely finished, very classic, very vintage looking watch. Everything about it is really classy. I really do like what they have done with this watch. They did a very good job. The buckle, generic, but then again, this is a $260 watch. I don't think that $560 price point would be serious for this watch. I don't think that is where this watch would be priced at. If this was $520, I would be telling you that this is not worth it at that price, even though they've added a lot of really cool details. I think $260 is a steal for this watch, and I don't think they make much money on it. So a little bit of a gimmick there, but fine. I'm okay with it because you are getting a very nice watch for a very good price. So very quickly, let's do that loom shot, because I am pretty sure this has good loom, and of course we want to see that. Very nicely applied with loom, pretty liberal on the hands, nicely applied to those indices. The fact is that loom costs a lot of money. So when a brand is offering a watch at $260 and they're putting loom on the watch that is pretty decently to liberally applied, that means they're putting a lot of money into the watch. There's a lot of value here. That dome sapphire crystal, or boxed dome sapphire crystal, is a lot more expensive as well. There's details here that are of a more expensive watch. Now, I think this watch would be nicely priced at around $360, probably in that neighborhood. So you're saving $100 on this watch, I would say. I think that $520 that they initially said this would be selling at is sort of a gimmick. There is a code that you need to use if you want this. It's voted price because they did that vote on their Instagram. So if you want to save that money, you have to use that code. So if you go to their website, I think they're going to actually have that inflated price of $500 and something. Use the voted price code and you will get this discount. Now, I don't think that discount expires. So if you're watching this video a week or 2 weeks from now, I think that code is still valid. Anyway, tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys. What do you think of this watch? What do you think of the brand? I am always happy to have a Canadian brand on the channel. I am always happy to have an American brand on the channel, of course. So very happy to feature this watch. I want to hear from you guys. What do you think? What do you think of the price versus the value proposition here? You can see it's holding on. The lume is holding on, and I've been talking for a few minutes, so definitely a nice application here. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. It is super helpful for the channel and I very much appreciate it. Please follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is WatchChrisBlog, all one word. I have some links in the description. Those links are to Amazon. If you click those links and buy anything, it helps support the channel. It doesn't cost you anything extra. However, I very much appreciate it. Anyway, have a great, big, beautiful tomorrow, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.